Okay, it is 6:01. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting of the Development Commission to order. And Matt, you want to lead us in prayer and then we'll do the pledges?
Yes. Yes. Okay, Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for your Son who died for our sins. Thank you for the opportunity to represent the people in some very important topics. We thank you for this ability. We thank you for courage, and we thank you for discernment and wisdom that comes from you. We pray for safety, everyone here, and everybody going home. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Okay. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Very good. Okay, so the first item we had on there was to approve the minutes from our last meeting. And so, well, if it's okay with the people in the audience, we'd like to go ahead and take care of the administrative stuff, and then we'll do the citizen comments. Okay. Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes of January 22nd. Do I have a second? Second. Okay. All right, all in favor of the approval, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. And if you all would, let me fill the date in here. Oh, actually, those are the rules of decorum. That's the next thing. All right, let me pull up our rules. And I think I gave you all a copy, right? Okay.
We've been trying to get these rules in our first meeting.
We have. Okay, so what I did, based on what we talked about, the highlight is what I changed from the last version. So we had talked about the citizen comments, that we wanted to not have a time limit on citizen open comments, but that we would allow the speakers to have 5 minutes each. But however many speakers we have, 5 minutes each. We're not going to limit it to 30 minutes or an hour, whatever. Just however many speakers we have, and do 5 minutes each. And then we talked about the order of items. So we wanted to, we talked about introducing the item, and then if we had some public speakers, to let them make their remarks on that item. And then after all the speakers, have additional discussion. And I added in there, it's the desire of this commission to have an open dialogue forum and allow citizens to comment and provide input during the post-speakers discussion. So, okay. And then, what did I add here? Oh, just I added that we could, by a majority vote, we could take things out of order on the agenda. D and E, F, that was the same. All of those are the same. And then I took the suggestions of some of the people in the audience about making it more clear about an item to speak on. So did a little box for open comments and then one for an agenda item. Okay. All right.
I move that we accept these and pass these as our rules of decorum.
Okay. All right, we've got a motion to approve the rules of decorum as presented. Okay. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Okay, the rules are approved. So now let me put this date on here. It's the 19th. And then if you will sign and pass that around. Okay, we'll go ahead and open up for citizen open comments. I just have one speaker, Mr. Brian Glenn, if you want to come up and address us.
All right. I just have one item, and it's concerning an email that I sent last Friday. I don't know if you all received it. It was mainly directed at Mr. Head. What I was suggesting is that red and yellow are within the 10-day period that you have to refuse those as being incomplete.
They weren't incomplete. They had everything on the checklist. They had
Really?
analysis study, we have a checklist for.
Okay. Okay. So I guess we'll just review them here and assign more conditionals to them in order for them to pass, rather than letting them, answer the mail that everybody else is answering right now.
That'll be up to the court.
Okay. See, I thought this was up to you. But,
No, the court has a public hearing to discuss and consider approval.
okay.
I don't approve them.
But you have the right to.
I accept
Send
the
them back
applications.
if
If
they're
if it's a complete application, I have to accept it.
Really? Okay. I didn't see any drainage studies. I didn't see
There was a
any
comprehensive-
traffic study.
There's a
didn't see-
comprehensive drainage study and a traffic impact analysis turned in with it.
Okay. Was that not posted, or?
It's,
I didn't recall seeing any of that.
where am I supposed to, I post it when I send it with the agenda, and then I send it to the engineers to review.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to ask you to re-review it. I'll look at it again, but tomorrow's your last day for 10 days. And I submit here that they are incomplete. So for what that's worth, we'll take it to court, I guess, and argue it there.
Are we to the stage yet where maybe it should be coming through here too, or is that,
Yeah, and that was something that I was thinking, but it's not in the regulations yet to come through the development commission. And that's the thing about the 10 days is such a short timeline. Is that a state, is that the,
Yeah, 10 days to review it for completion, and then you got to accept it, and then you got to run it in the paper for a public hearing, but you only got 30 days to approve it. That's why we're having a special called meeting to consider it on the 4th.
But that's past the 10 days. So we are coming within the 30 days this time at least, right?
what is the statute for that 10 days? Or is that just in
It's in local government code 232.
the subdivision rules?
That's the only rules we got, right? We don't have any industrial use.
Right, and that's one of the things that definitely needs to be addressed, because we shouldn't be, in my opinion, we shouldn't be falling under the subdivision rules for concept plans for data centers.
sure.
So just for data.
Do not disagree with you.
So those maybe non-residential.
I'm just not sure where the authority comes from if it doesn't come from there.
232 are the subdivision regulations.
Correct, I understand.
What's-
In my opinion, I don't feel like data centers should fall under 232. So that's something that I think when we start redoing the regulations, that we make some changes there. Hold on. Donna, I know you didn't fill out a form. Did you have anything you wanted to say, or?
The only thing I wanted to say is that every county in Texas is under siege, and we have 231K, and we may be the only county in Texas that's not developed.
Come up with the money.
The only thing I wanted to say is how fortunate we are to have 231K. What a great decision the court made this week that you get to work with Freeze and Nichols. I mean, that is such a stellar group. And to have Mr. Sefco, who actually authored 231K and worked with an attorney and got it passed through the legislature. That was also Representative Jim Keffer and Lee Overstreet from here in town that worked on that. So you guys are really fortunate. There are so many counties in Texas that want to be appended to 231K. I was driving here tonight and I was catching a high point and seeing the hills, and I just thought to myself, how lucky we are that we have a chance to preserve what we have. And so many places in Texas don't. And really and truly, when you look at the location of all the data centers and the power plants, they always choose water. They always choose the pretty places. They're next to the state parks. It's awful. And so you guys have a chance to put a stop up that others can use to possibly get their counties under the same designation. So I'm just here to support you and help you any way that I possibly can, because the development this week of getting Freeze and Nichols, and you guys get to work with them, wow. I'm just going to be happy to observe.
We're also in talks with a law firm that specializes in county development.
Fantastic. I have to just thank you guys and commend you guys for, just think where we were a month ago and what y'all have done. So thank you. I just want to say thank you, because for me, it's personal. You know, my son was raised here and he wants to live here, and I want him to live here. So, you know, we have to make it so it's good for everybody. Thank you.
Will you fill a form out for me?
Sure.
I mean, I know you, but you know, just for the record.
Now that y'all know me.
Mr. Glenn, what was that article number?
B, but what was the number before the B?
And I think
4.6, that'll work.
also, there's only one other thing I want to say. Sure. And when you're considering regulations, I've been looking at other development codes and noise. You have to have some rules for noise and low-frequency electromagnetic radiation.
Okay.
Pardon me?
For
I don't
noise?
know. I really don't know the answer on that, but you have 231K. So, okay, thank you. I'll tell, sorry.
All I saw was a complete application.
4.2B, 1 through 20 is the things that are required for an application for the council. So what's the time frame on that? 30 days to consider.
I have a,
I was writing his referring to a 10-day period that you could have refused it back to him. That you didn't.
why can't you turn it
I was there
down?
when we were discussing.
I turned it down 4 times before I accepted it. We didn't have everything on the checklist.
Right. That's all I was trying to get you to do here. It saved court some time. You just,
What district is it in?
So the road portal is,
yellow and red are very the same.
the road portal is. I've got a question about the lawyers. So the court is hiring another lawyer. So we got.
I was going to do this in new business, but,
I'm sorry. I'll wait.
okay,
It got brought up.
okay. I mean, is everyone okay with, do we need a motion? I make a motion to jump to new business? Okay.
Anyone else wants to speak?
Anyone else want to speak? Okay, so because it's brought up, we'll go ahead and talk about new business. So we did engage the Borquez firm. They are specialized in municipal law and have represented cities and counties all over the state. And so we signed an engagement letter with them. And then, as mentioned, we had a special called meeting to have Freeze and Nichols come, and they are, Dan Sefco was co-author of Local Government Code 231, Subchapter K, and also worked on these original development regulations for the county. You know, we know back then we had a moratorium, and he had his own firm at that time and was working with a lawyer out of Dallas, and their names are on the front page of that strategic plan. Anyway, he since sold his firm and went to Freeze and Nichols and has been there for some time. Freeze and Nichols, I know a lot of you all probably heard of them. They're a full service firm, engineers in all kinds of specialties. And so we haven't officially signed with them. What he explained in the court is kind of what they do, but what they're going to do for us is come back with a scope of work, give us an estimate on the cost, and then we'll go from there. So that's where they are now. We did have one of the representatives came to the town hall that was down in Toller last night, so he could, I invited him so he could get a sense of what the community is feeling about data centers. I'm also going to be sending him the commissioner court, I'm sending the firm the commissioner court minutes where everyone has spoken, their citizen comments and things like that, because I keep all those, and so that they can, again, read through all the comments that the citizens have made over the past few months, and so they understand the community sentiment about data center development. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be engaging them. It's just mainly for them to come back with their scope of work and give us an estimate on cost, but I think we're pretty much, the court's going to be on board to officially approve them to come in. We deemed them most qualified, which was the first step. And so once we get that work scope, then we move forward.
Bracewell out, or is it still?
Bracewell is still, we're still engaged with them. I know I haven't seen the revisions yet, but the moratorium is back on the agenda for the 24th for reconsideration. We did have a public notice go out to also consider a moratorium on March 10th if there's some reason why we hit a snag on the 24th. And so it's kind of our backup plan. And as mentioned, special called meeting next Wednesday at 9 a.m. Is that when that's when yellow and red are going to be?
Both yellow and red?
Mm-hmm. And I think it's at 9 a.m. Yeah. I'm sorry, March 4th. At 9 a.m. That's going to be to look at the red and yellow concept plans.
And the day on that is Wednesday, February or March? March,
yeah. What is that? Yeah, March 4th.
Those are posted to the development?
I haven't posted those, but there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to be public. Is that correct? Well, I've been putting the concept plans that have been submitted on the Development Commission page, so I'll make a note and I'll get those uploaded so that the public can have them.
I wonder if the one I had wasn't the full package, maybe that's it, that's the one I think I went to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was quick. I was trying to get the letter out early in the day. Now it's still on.
Okay.
I apologize for being confused between the concept and site development, because a lot of those conditionals are from site development.
Exactly. A lot of the conditions we're posting on these concept plans are basically approving the site development plan.
I'm here
Right.
looking for that again.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
It's confusing. But as far as so when Freeze and Nichols comes on board and the other law firm, one of the things I did talk to Freeze and Nichols about was that, and Commissioner Samuelson, is that the Development Commission be intimately involved in that process as far as developing regulations. I think that well, we'll probably have one or two centralized points of contact and things like that as far as reaching out, but yes. They want to do that as well, community meetings, but I know that some of the suggestions that we have here that we've already worked on, I mean, I think that we should have a dialogue with them as they develop the regulations. Mm-hmm.
And what I want to avoid is Robert calls and I call and Matt calls and you call me problem. It's like, here's a bill, here's a bill, here's a bill, here's a bill.
Yeah.
Kind of circling the bill all at once. You follow their time.
We'll set up, like we did with Bracewell, who will be the points of contact. So likely the county attorney myself as chairman of the commission, the commissioners, things like that. So it'll all be centralized. But I did tell them I would like us, to be involved in the process of suggesting, reviewing, drafting, all of that. So,
So when I worked as a consultant, I would get a set of plans, and I would do a review of the plan, and then just write a little general summary.
mhm.
So that's something you could, maybe they could do that, you submit the plan, and 2 days later you get back a summary
You mean as far as concept plans or regulations?
for the concept plans and balanced against our regulations.
Yeah. I think I know the first order is going to be just, we've got to get the regulations caught up. And
Yes.
so hopefully we can get the moratorium, so that's kind of where we are right now. So, absolutely.
One of the things that might be considered also is, since they're familiar with, subchapter K, and I'm assuming that's their main focus. Although, what does that take, years to get a change through on that? So I'm thinking development plans more critical. But it would seem to me they understand what they were trying to implement in subchapter K, and if part of their scope would be to look at these and make suggestions, they might be better equipped to do that.
My personal opinion, these have been piecemeal so much that they can be shredded and redone.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure the same.
And one more thing, am I allowed to make inputs for these changes? Because I've gone through this a lot.
I'm happy.
Lots of places where you
I'm happy to receive them if you want to email them. Most definitely. Okay, so the other item we had was just to look at some of these definitions that have been suggested.
Sorry, can you spell that all through? I know I didn't.
I believe it's BOROJQUEZ.
She said it knows how you pronounce it yet.
Yeah, Borquez.
It's out of San Antonio.
Yes, they're out of San Antonio.
The conversation we had there was a lot. I was very impressed with her.
Well, they represent counties, so they sort of look at it more from that point of view, and the things they're addressing.
Okay, so let me pull up these definitions that we were going to look at. Thank you. There we go. Okay, let's see if I can enlarge that. Yeah, absolutely. Here.
A couple meetings ago, Robert, maybe now, you had provided some possible definitions for some of these things. And so I took some of the ones you provided, also added a few more based on some of these proposed regulation changes that I had started drawing up. And again, I started drawing these up prior to a couple things, prior to Freeze and Nichols being identified, also prior to the initial vote on the moratorium. And we had kind of had a discussion in, again, I apologize if it was last meeting or the meeting before, I think it was last meeting, about it really depended on the length of the moratorium as to what we were going to try to accomplish with some of these changes. And in my mind, if the moratorium was 0 to 6 months, then maybe there's some of these things we need to take a look at in the very short term. If we were going to get a 12-month moratorium or a 6-month moratorium with the option to extend, then it made more sense to probably just let Freeze and Nichols take over with our input. Not knowing what's going to happen on Tuesday, my recommendation is that we do actually take a look at some of these and see if there's any that we want to put in place, or at least provide notice that we've got some stuff, like put it out there that they will have the option to vote on it. Again, we can't get it on for Tuesday, but if it's if it's out there, we can always pull it back. Like if we get the moratorium on Tuesday, then in my mind, that says, all right, we've got the moratorium, we've got the right firm in place to start looking at these. Let's go from there. But if once again, we don't have a moratorium and we're 6 to 12 months from getting any changes in the regulations, that's kind of scary to me from the standpoint of 2 weeks ago, we had 4 projects coming in, and now we have 6 projects coming in. And in 2 weeks, could it be 8 to 10? So, and I know there's a big argument over who these regulations are going to affect, and I obviously have my view on that. And so, in my mind, these regulation changes are just as important as a moratorium if the moratorium doesn't exist. And I believe what I've done in some of these are partially based on conversations we had in the last meeting, plus actually mostly based on conversations that we had in the last meeting, and I believe they're right in line with the powers endowed, the 8 things that we're allowed to make adjustments on. And so I'd love to get some of y'all's feedback on some of these things. And again, the reason there's more definitions is because as I went in to look at some of these regulation changes, I just felt like there were some more things that needed to be defined. And nothing is sacred in these. It was just kind of a first crack at it. So.
You had 2 subsections on it, so.
Mm-hmm. Right, and it'd be nice, in my opinion, to have almost a selection for the court in that they can approve the language plus the moratorium if they deem that appropriate, and then we've got another option of some stuff if we decide we like it. They can reject it. We can decide to pull it if the moratorium goes through. But
when are we actually in contract with that new attorney? So I suggest if you want to do this on the 10th, these need to go to the county, because the first thing they're going to ask me is the county attorney review these, but send it to her too, because she's a professional in development law.
okay. Well, maybe I'll give a quick rundown on what I did on these. So on subsection 5.3F, we're on to page 2 here. This had to do with the maximum building coverage requirement. So there were a couple things in here. One, it appears to read currently that parking lots and paving don't actually affect your coverage area, which from an impermeability standpoint, obviously it does affect, stormwater and things like that. And so that is one thing that I thought would be smart to change in here, is that it's not exclusive of parking and paved areas, but it's inclusive of parking and paved areas. And then obviously I added the paragraph in there that if this was data centers, crypto mining facilities, and we can add anything else in there that is what I would say, more threatening to the land than say residential, that it would have a harsher coverage percentage. And so I was suggesting instead of having 50%, it was down to 5%. And the way it currently reads is maximum building coverage requirement for all non-residential uses and multifamily uses, the maximum of 50%. And then as you get into some of these other more industrial uses, changing it down to 5%. And that would be, in my mind, allowable via the 8 items described in subchapter K, as being able to regulate building coverage in the districts.
My original draft on this was 10% for that second sentence.
Mhm.
Still, I think 10% is better than 5%, like 5%.
Sure, sure.
I mean, and I would suggest adding power plants. It is. Oh,
Did I?
definition. Yeah, it's.
But it's not,
It's also.
okay, cool. I'd be okay with 10%. Mm-hmm. No, I want that first paragraph to remain. And so what it's saying is it's a reference to non-residential uses, so like non-single family homes. So for all non-residential uses and multifamily uses, it says a maximum 50% of that parcel tract or lot can be covered by buildings and structures, but I want to change it to say exclusive of parking and other paved areas. And then adding a paragraph where it says for all data centers, AI data centers, and crypto mining facility uses, a maximum of 10%.
I think the theory is here, I think this is what made my thought, by doing it that way, you force those type of neighbors that are maybe going to be more controversial, that are going to have more than
And what it agreed. And in addition to that, it keeps us from having to do tax abatements in order to get some of those setbacks. And if correct.
So what prevents them, 1,000 acres, if we make it 10%, and let's say they do 100 acres, they have 900 acres remaining, what prevents them from transacting that meets and bounds and it being developed something else? And what prevents it furthermore of saying, here's 900 acres, and they have a 90-acre data center, here's 800 acres,
Yeah, I mean, I think after the fact, you're right, but you're still going to create that buffer. It's still going to be where the potential problem of sound comes from the power plant specifically.
I'll tell you what scares me is every one of them are talking about putting on their own water and public sewer plants. If they did what he's talking about, right now it's rural and they wanted to subdivide that, with private wells, it's 2-acre net lots. Well, they got public water and public sewer, it then goes to gross acres, you got 10,000 houses out there.
And if people want to live next to the data centers, then they got to live something. But at least they'd be getting joys versus oyster farm.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, again, this is like beyond the point of the taking. Like you're saying, you can only use 5% for a use specific in the county. Like, I don't even know how this would.
Well, the 10% would be for the specific use. I mean, it's going to be.
The specific harsh uses, yeah. That we're taking the authority.
What is the harshness difference between an AI data center and a manufacturing facility?
Depends what it is, I
I
guess.
don't necessarily disagree.
When you see where I'm going with this, right? Like,
I really don't.
So
I mean, there
it's-
could be in particular, maybe if they wanted to build transmissions.
yeah, transmission, auto manufacturing.
Holding out steam, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
But that's not really on the horizon.
We don't have the highways to track something like that.
Steel mills, we don't have coal,
You don't have a train station, you don't
what
have.
we do have is gas line, power plants. Power plant.
Well, you're gonna run a risk of having an Elon Musk situation that he has in Memphis. And what he did in Memphis is the regulations limited him, so they put everything on trailers, called it, oh, well, this is not a permanent structure. So now they have containers on trailers doing what they want to do anyway.
They're always gonna find a way around the rules.
I don't disagree that if they're really serious, it's difficult stuff.
And these are non-district dependent. Blanket.
This particular one is non-district dependent, correct? It's from the general district descriptions. The other thought down below on subsection 5.1B was potentially making the whole county a water quality district, since the whole county is defined as a watershed. And
What are the requirements in a water quality district for a septic tank?
Depends on what it's for. The only thing water quality does is prohibit multifamily and RV parks unless they're on public water and public sewer. And these are doing public water and public sewer.
1.5 miles of tributaries.
And I think that's why the districts are set up the way that they are.
The bad thing is the Brazos River Authority has delegated us the authority within their jurisdiction, which is 2 miles from the lake, to approve sewer permits. They came in here and took that back and made us like Possum Kingdom. And everybody at Possum Kingdom rules for BRA sewers, they go out and have a $70,000 alert system.
wow. They could only have buildings, 100 acres of buildings if they had 1,000 acres. So that's big.
That one in Hutchins ain't even that big. The one they want to try to make the ice facility out of.
So we think 10% is too much? Looks bad.
And I think we've floated a bit of 50 already. So my feeling is you start pushing this too much, like, just below it all.
Here's my position on it. If, say, Kevin Andrews, for example, doesn't think that we can do a moratorium because of subchapter K, because it doesn't say it expressly in subchapter K. I disagree with him, but there are things that are expressly said in subchapter K that we can do, and so I'm trying to use some of those things in order to help us slow some of this down if we don't get a moratorium.
But subchapter K didn't trump the private property protection.
I am,
Okay, it's directly to percentage of development though, that is specifically.
It does. But like he said, the 50%, we've had it in there, nobody's ever griped, but what is it taking if you reduce the value by 25%?
It's on a 2-acre tract. I think the thing to look at is the 10% number that we're talking about is for the specific AI data centers, cryptocurrency, power plants.
I get it. I understand.
But I mean,
I understand your reasoning.
I think you'd have less pushback proposing regulations that include buffers and setbacks than you would a percent development.
but I think, yeah, I think they would say,
I don't disagree, I'm just saying you don't have that, and so we artificially create it by limiting the percentage. I mean, that's all look, our best case scenario under this would be like, they magically put it in the middle, trying to understand, be a good neighbor.
right.
Don't put it at the very center, try to put it more in the center, and that way you have more developable
This probably would dictate them though to not, like if money matters and they're a developer, they'd probably suck it up close so that, they're not paying for, unless they're good neighbors. So they're not paying for extra paving to get all the way to the middle of their 1,000 acres.
They may think the land to the front's more expensive if they sell it later.
True, yeah.
What they would probably do is target land that's significantly encumbered by easements and floodplain already.
But that would be great. I mean, that's a good case scenario for the people selling.
What's the size of the road corridor, district, depth, I forgot. It's in the, master thoroughfare plan, isn't it? That definition?
Let's see, road corridor within 1
half mile.
So you could limit anything that's not residential to road corridor. And that would.
That's controlling land use, which we don't have the authority to do.
Are we sure we don't, because we do have the ability to create districts and we do appear to be flirting with that a little bit in the districts.
You don't have the ability to create, you have the ability to modify, because you have 3 districts.
Right, but what I'm saying is, by creating districts, aren't we kind of dictating land use a little bit?
A little bit for the water quality, and they justified it because of what happened in early 2000s, that polluted lake, no little boys swimming, but even with the water quality district, the reason why they say something's prohibited unless is because you can't just outright prohibit something. You got to give them you can do it if you do this.
Right.
It's not usually cost effective for somebody putting in an RV park in a water quality district to have public water and public sewer ran to it.
Right.
You can't just outright prohibit it, you just give them purpose.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt, the trick is not how to do it, but to make their development process difficult.
Mm-hmm. Or just not attractive here. Mm-hmm.
The road corridor districts will change now because the new master thoroughfare plan.
So I think some of these offsets. That distance needs to be more than half. That's not.
I think it says tributaries, like main tributaries to the Brattlins, so that's why on the Selfish
There's a
deal,
few
that
left off,
other
yeah.
secondary ephemeral stream or trip into the Biloxi is not included because it's secondary trip.
It's another taxing entity, but if we had something like Houston's got or San Antonio's got with the drainage districts, they have like city powers.
Well, you also have your flood control order that was signed in 2020, and the flood control order prohibits us from putting something in a tributary that goes downstream and harms somebody else. So that is why.
Where does it say that?
Well, that's
Pardon me?
Where did it say that? I wrote the order. I didn't put that in there.
but
It is in there.
that's
It
a
says you cannot create an adverse impact. You cannot,
That's what I'm talking about. So
you
can't
cannot
put
raise the base
something-
flood elevation more than 1 foot anywhere in the floodplain without a no-rise certificate from an engineer. So in other words, you cannot put field dirt in the floodplain. But we do allow for compensatory fill, like you want to build a house pad and most of your land's in the floodplain, you can dig the dirt out of the floodplain at your property and build your house pad.
But the floodplain gives us responsibilities. We can't approve something that puts things into Prairie Creek that contaminates the Biloxi.
well, it's
Well, I can
more-
promise you there'll never be a power plant in the floodplain because I do got the right to flat out prohibit that because it's critical infrastructure.
They,
Okay.
they wouldn't be able to put a power plant to the floodplain first one while.
I cannot allow power plants, fire stations, anything that's considered critical infrastructure cannot go in the floodplain.
Perfect.
I would argue so. They wouldn't be able to do that first was the line. They run directly into the flood.
yeah.
One thing I'd love to see in our development regs is I talked to Freeze and Nichols about it, is our development standards that we do not allow levies, because a couple of years ago, we had a development coming way out by La Pan that was trying to move a creek and they were wanting to protect it by a levee. Well, luckily, Corps of Engineers said you're not moving that creek.
I mean, again, I have a lot of heartburn with this stuff, but I've been thinking about this, like what is something simple to do? And I think proposing removal of the concept plan process entirely. Make them go street side development permit.
Well,
I mean, it's full civils, that's full.
That was an idea I had on here.
it would save me money on my budget if we just remove the public hearing notice requirements, because it's not statutorily required.
For a concept plan.
It's not required by anything
Oh, yeah,
besides
that's
changing the regs and the replat.
Instead of trying to get into this here, knowing that we got new rates coming, why don't we just take out?
Just take out the concept plan. I mean, what I would do,
What is that to them to take the conception plan out? That would allow, that would give Freeze and Nichols time, that would give attorneys time.
and any new submittals, because what's in is in, it's that's it. But like, so they go straight to site development permit.
So you have to.
That's full civils, full
The whole
everything.
purpose of a concept plan is it was to give a developer, before he spent millions on.
Seems like a
engineering,
pre-dev meeting, like you have a.
Yeah,
a lot
it's
of
like a
times.
way to have a formal submittal for development without a whole bunch of upfront cost and get comments or some kind of opinion back like,
Yep.
hey, you got this bubble plan right, but you need to account for this arterial, or you need this, or whatever it is.
4.2.
And I think the other thing, do what? Say what?
That takes it out of the public's purview to see anything early. We wouldn't have had come up with any of these conditional approvals if it hadn't been for people like me.
But the concept plan submittal is such a low threshold that every concept plan that has been submitted has been in compliance with the concept plan submittal requirements. I get there have been conditions placed on them, which are actually the requirements in a site development permit submittal. And a lot of people's frustration was, where's the HECRAS model? Where's the full TIA? Where's all this stuff? Like, y'all are looking, at a big zoomed out, and like, we had a discussion, like, you're like, there's not fire lanes there, but at 1,000 scale, like, hell, it's hard to determine, I don't mean to, but it's hard to determine a parking stall between a curb.
Which is where there is like a bit of a deficiency here, because we are talking about,
Even on the site development plan, everybody's expecting it to be like full construction plans. We have no building codes.
no, I get that, and I agree that some people don't get that, but with these types of developments, I think that people are justifiably demanding more information, even if it's not.
I mean, I'm not saying it's justifiable or not. I mean, it's like legitimately the next step in the process. So if people are upset about being vested on a concept plan, because that's where we are right now, if we're worried about this next submittals within the next 6 months before Freeze can kick something out that has some substance, as they said, I remember they said 6 months or something, but, like, I'm an engineer. I know our timelines sometimes shift a lot, but you can do that. And the other thing you can do is come up with a formal submittal schedule to the beginning of every month. And then y'all aren't trying to field a submittal schedule on random days, get them in this process in this 30-day timeline. You come in a more efficient way, which is something a lot of counties and cities do.
So you're saying if you get it in before a certain date, they're all going to be reviewed?
Yeah, like, so formal submittal day is, let's just say March next week. The formal submittal day is March 4th, because that's the day we've already talked about, March 4th. Everything has to be March 4th. If you want to submit March 5th, that's fine, but it's not formally accepted until the next one, or you can request a review and you could waive your 30-day right. I mean, there are cities, one pretty close here, that ask you to waive your right when you make submittals.
Describe that to me. What do you mean waive your right?
You waive your right to the 30-day shot clock.
Meaning what?
Means you're not going to enforce the 30-day shot clock. They
The
don't have to
developer
waive it.
is waiving their right to the,
They don't have to. They can say, no, I want my day in court, 30 days, let's go.
gotcha.
So like, I don't necessarily know that that's the necessary action that county needs to take. There's ways you can structure your submittal, like Granbury, for example. It's been a couple years since I've done Granbury, but their response to this was 19 legislation. Their response was, everything is a pre-application submittal. Everything. They say a pre-application submittal is not a formal submittal. I disagree with that, but no one's challenged it yet. So you don't go to your formal final plat submittal until everything's reviewed and approved. And then you're like, okay, you can make your formal submittal and you submit your final plat. It's already been reviewed as part of your CDs and everything like that. And then boom, 30 days goes.
I've always thought the concept plan was worth, I mean, I understand why they did it. It was to keep developers from spending a ton of money to see if they could do something or not before they spend a ton of money on engineering. But I've yet to see one that, besides the one in my opinion, that didn't make it.
And again, you could put a process in, if you're gonna eliminate the concept plan, we have the ability to request a pre-development meeting.
What I think is great about that is when you go look at chapter 245 or whatever, concept plan's not in there. Unless a lot of things,
Yeah, well,
we have like a disconnect between our definitions.
well, every city and every entity calls these things different.
Right.
So like, they have like a general plan in the deal.
That's what I'm saying, we have the opportunity to line it up with Texas law if we want.
Correct, yeah,
Yeah.
like you can,
hopefully
and I
that's
think,
what that new
hopefully that's
term
what freezes, and organizers are gonna really be very intentional about making sure everything that's in here is in conformance with the law and has some justice, because that's the other thing, when comments are provided under the rules, all this is under subdivision ordinance, but they have to quote every comment, they have to put their chapter and location of regulations where they're enforcing it from. If they don't have it, most development still does that.
So let me ask this, like, if someone's working on a project, like me, I go type a piece of property and I wanna do multifamily somewhere or something, I can still email you and say, hey, Clint, what do you think about this?
I would say it depends on where you want to do it.
Right, but you would theoretically see my plan, where it is, and you say, you can't do that there, sorry, because of this, this, and this.
I think the way you would want to do that is set up a pre-development meeting and you show up there and you present it in the meeting and the developer takes their stuff with them. Because it's technically a submittal if you email it to them.
Right, but I guess I'm saying,
But
do we even need to have that defined?
No, I think
Or-
there's already a pre-development meeting option anyway, like you can have it, and so like, you can roll it
With
out.
modern technology, a lot of them are taking place on Zoom.
Yeah, you can do it on Teams.
I recommend you don't pass up the public. Because once they get vested and then we get to look at it, there's no way to say, hey.
People can still sign up to speak at it if it's not a public hearing.
What do you have as a checklist for consistent with the districts and the, strategic plan?
Strategic plan is based on water and sewer, just like the regulations are for residential.
Do you have a checklist for the 3 districts that are in the strategic plan that, what was just up there, it said everything and then subject to the compliance with the strategic plan?
Don't quote me, because he's probably about to correct me, but I think that's a verification it's not in a water quality district.
It's part
It's not in a water quality district. I think that's like a back check from that. So like, when you say, are you in compliance with the district, I think they're just distinct. I mean, if you're already there, I'm probably wrong, let's just say that, but.
Well, like, is there a clear definition for water quality district, road corridor, et cetera? These uses are permitted?
No, it gives you residential limitations of water districts for dwellings and multifamily. Like if you have centralized water and centralized sewer, a multifamily could have 18 dwellings per gross acre.
So does that exclude all other uses?
No,
No, any use can go to a water quality district.
Which is,
You do.
the way it's written now, it has to have centralized water.
Yeah, you have to have a centralized water wastewater for TCQ, which includes municipal water wastewater, but also includes PWS's, all that's privatized water service, all that stuff.
But can you modify to say that anything other than what you have listed right now cannot go in that district?
you cannot just outright prohibit something. Like right there, if water and sewer is provided, they can have it. Down here at number 3, it says single-family detached dwellings, patio homes, 2-family dwellings, recreational vehicles, and multifamily dwellings without centralized water or wastewater are prohibited. The only way you can prohibit something, you can't prohibit it, you gotta give them a step.
It's in the water district.
Yeah.
And that brings up another item that we kind of started talking about a little bit, Robert, last time, was in the water quality district, section 5.4C, instead of calling it centralized water, could we call it municipal water?
Well, most of the water out in the county is not municipal water. It's a mud or private-owned water companies.
For those specific uses, though.
I think you have to,
I do-
you have to carefully tread between,
After subchapter K, the language exists in subchapter K, I was trying to keep it as limited as possible, our facilities, and such, and put the municipal water system in there strictly to be, it's not impossible, it would just be expensive.
Right. And would a MUD,
So
the
that's-
M being
that's-
municipal,
this is where I'm going.
would
like,
that
we
count?
just denied Pacifico. So like, again, this goes to intent versus effect, right? So I think there's been enough public comments made throughout this whole thing, what everybody wants the effect to be. And so like, this is kind of why I'm like really ready for the land use attorneys to get in here and really either put teeth in it, whatever they're gonna do with Freeze support. Freeze is a great engineer. I think they actually only serve public people, which is unique to Freeze. And so, begrudgingly, I work at the best engineering firms.
I was gonna make some comments, but
It doesn't matter. I'm actually looking forward to that and excited about that. I think it's gonna be a good thing. And I want to be careful. Again, I say it every meeting, working within the law. I'm sure people are annoyed with me saying it, but I think we can do some easy, direct things like eliminate concept plan, put a submittal schedule, and we can do that quick, like first week of every month, one day or whatever. It allows Clint, everybody make sure notices are out, reviews are turned around, compliance is done, so they're not constantly filling submittals after that. It doesn't prohibit a submittal off a submittal date, but there's an extra step in there because it's not formally accepted or whatever the criteria is.
Right now, the commissioners do not, so if you look at subchapter K, that is possible, and I assume maybe sometimes have it set up that way, but we will not pass it.
That was one of the things that the gentleman, Freeze Nichols, said that the development commission kind of operated like a.
If the commissioners delegated that authority, but they have not.
But again, you'd have to be careful with that as well, because like, for Pacifico, for example, you both would probably recuse yourself.
Yeah. It's not as simple as to do that.
Oh, because.
Yeah.
Right.
What you've already said.
Yeah, public comments, everything you said, like
Like, it
it's
would be,
currently right now,
it would be trickier than that.
we don't really have any authority. We're here as an advisory board, right? And I think that allows people flexibility to say things and do things and make comments and everybody should, I'm not saying no one should do that. Everybody should say what they want to say. But going down that route, it also throws wrinkles into the timeline to make approval. It doesn't lengthen your timeline. And so if we run a situation like we ran last time where we couldn't have quorum, so then it's effectively either, maybe there's language that can be written in there. If there's no quorum, it just defaults goes whatever with no recommendation. I don't know. But typically it's just going to approve the other way. Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Default passes. It has to be, I guess, light most favorable to the.
unless it's a, no.
Then you don't have to be like me and you can't publicly give an opinion. You got to be indifferent.
I mean, I think,
You don't give opinions?
Not publicly.
that day would come, but that, I don't see that happening until you have a whole new section with what's
And,
on everybody's mind.
and the county's going to have to staff up a little bit to support something like that. I mean, reality. That's what would have to happen to, because what's going to happen is
I'm
you go
doing
to
4 jobs by myself.
yeah, you go to third-party reviewers and you want your third-party review for
Actually,
submittal be in there.
Consider all the clerical work,
Not
that's
be
5 or
in
6
there.
jobs, right?
So,
Floodplain, flood compliance, development compliance, and then all the office work.
so I think there,
My only hesitation, I don't think there's any way we can take concept plan out. Like, it weaves through this thing too much.
But I think it's a good idea
I mean, I
for,
like the idea, and I think
No.
we should tell Freeze and Nichols, like, look, this has created a
or you can leave concept plan on residential. Like, I mean, you could well define it, but right now it's completely open-ended.
I think
Anybody,
it's-
concept plan, it's a
I
quick
think it's a
vesting
waste
tool.
of time and it's ministerial even on residential.
I mean, I don't disagree, but like Pecan has a concept plan for everything. So it effectively becomes,
If you cut the concept plan out, that actually frees up his review of like site development plans because it'll be more complete, it'll be more.
Correct.
You'll have more information. to get to the commissioner to be able to make more informed decision.
One less bill I gotta pay the newspaper for too. They have to have more thorough stuff, because the concept plan is very vague.
Are they more vested with the site plan? once
They
submit
actually
that,
are
do they
vested,
have a-
yes.
So we don't get a gate before that, once they submit that.
no,
Once it's complete and they have a date of filing, that's what.
There is no filing, it's just court approval.
Right.
None on those, the only filings are on plats and replats.
right, once it's accepted for review, that is your vesting date. So even if it's deemed insufficient and then they resubmit, their vesting date was from the original submittal. There might be some wiggle room if someone just turns a paper. I'm doing a Walmart, no offense to Walmart.
Date of,
but
yeah.
I'm doing a Walmart, well, that's not complete, well, that's my vesting date, no, I'm doing a Walmart. It's like,
I think the worst thing they ever did in 2000, I mean, I understand there was a lot of cities and stuff out of control because I used to work in the private sector, but when they limited counties to the 30 days and then they took away their ability to have a definite denial for wanting them to have a public hearing, it makes these guys appear like they're not listening to them. So you're having a public hearing, hearing the public don't want it, but they can't say no. I think that's the worst thing they ever wrote into legislation.
yeah, there are a lot of cities that when we process plats, they're on consent agenda. They're straight consent, because they have no other option but to approve. And they weren't on consent agenda if they were asking for a variance though. So if you're asking for a variance from regulation, then you can do a denial.
But if you gotta give them the reason for the denial.
Correct.
They address that reason,
Correct.
they're automatically
If
approved.
they don't do the variance and go straight with the regulations, then your performance, all you can do
If
is.
the developer doesn't ask for a variance, the law says you're supposed to approve it.
Well, I think that, I mean, to me, that's instructive, but that's what the legislature did, and that's what I think the judge is going to look at. Some of the cases in front of him on stuff. Kind of balance the legislative intent in front of him, it's like, the legislature does not want to give counties that to say no.
That's basically what they did.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's what, so of course, that's the way the judge is going to lean when he makes the decision. And then he'll have to counterbalance that he's been such a, okay, that lists very specific things that has preemption over other sections. You've got to stay within, tight as in that as humanly possible.
I understand the reason why they wrote that in 2019, but I didn't think it was very thought out.
Well, it came back with revisions in 22 because I think,
Because of like,
well, the workaround was,
The time clock was suspended during COVID.
yeah, and the shot clock only applied, I think, to plats at first. And then so construction document review was being prolonged, so then they rolled in, that's why they rolled in all plans, any submittal.
232-0303.
Yeah, it was like SB, well, I can't remember, SB 820, SB something, I could find them. But they were 2019, I think, 22. So they came back and amended the 19 to include all the things.
Well, my position is that I personally do want to do something tonight in the event that we don't get the moratorium on Tuesday. And I think this 5.3F is a great opportunity. I like all the suggestions I heard for later of eliminating concept plans, having potentially like a review process even.
Let's get done with the concept plans that are already submitted before we do that, because I don't want to come back and say, hey, why'd y'all make us do one?
Say it again.
Let's wait
Oh,
on
before you take the concept plan thing out, yeah.
Because then they're gonna come back and say, why'd you make us do one? You filled us up with a concept plan, now you took it out.
Well, then we would,
well, that would be the.
That's the
Hold on.
vesting at vesting.
Right.
Well, and it's a regulation at their vesting. So if you remove
hold on, let me
something,
think how that works.
they could reprocess it because there was a lot of, I have to remember because COVID, I feel like was 100 years, but like
when this first stuff started coming out, like there was a lot of stuff forward was having a lot of workshops on this, and a lot of people were hesitant to submit before what the state was doing in 2018 or whatever to come in after. They were real hesitant to submit because it would appear that it was going to help streamline everything. It made everything chaos, right? Because every city didn't know how they implement it. Some were taking different tactics. They were all trying to keep control. And that's what spurred, I think, the 2022 stuff, because they had to really tighten down on that. And so there were a lot of people that were in like a legacy program because they were in the old rules. So they were still following the submittal calendars and everything like that. So it was fun on my side to have two different projects and two different processes.
Yeah, it's like when,
like that.
when cities adopt certain building codes in different years and.
So whatever's vested is under that regulation. So let's take the flip side. If the county were to say, we have no more regulations, well, they still would have to be under the regulations they're vested under. Or they would have to, I guess, withdraw.
I don't think they're vested though.
I understand that's your position, but
Yeah. And I
they're
understand.
100% vested. But I just, and that's the other frustration with some of this stuff is that like, I understand people's passion on it, but like making this stuff retroactive, like a moratorium being retroactive, like.
Well, it's not
there's no way.
retroactive if they're not vested.
That is an argument someone could try to make.
And I'm making it.
Good luck.
I have made that argument, yes.
I think that, that's why I just think it's simple to not convolute regulations that are currently being worked on. This concept plan, I mean, full transparency, like 5%, I just feel like I'm asking to be brought into court for a deposition, and I think 10% I'm asking to be brought into court. I just think it's like way onerous on a specific use personally, but, you know, I'm one person, I'm not the majority here, and people may not like that.
I think
get that.
10% is more than reasonable. I think if we're only going to work on 5.3F, then we only need definitions associated with 5.3F.
Even at 10%, that's just not how it works. I think they use that.
And how would you justify, because they're not using water or sewer, they're not excavating, they're just driving poles in the ground.
That's what I'm saying, but it says structures, and so structures would undoubtedly include the steel they drive in the ground for solar panels. And so instead of digging into all that, I think just remove solar arrays from the list and move the rest.
Yeah, I think it also,
All that would do would kick them back to 50%.
And I think you don't have to have the one-off argument on, well, everybody has a solar all over their roof, that's more than 5% of their lot. It's like,
Yeah, I just think leaving solar arrays in that
Although
is
it's
kind of
interesting.
just because basically the solar arrays are cover the whole thing.
Yeah, I would strike it.
May I add something there? So modern solar panels are designed to move with the sun.
Yeah.
And also go upright
Mhm.
in certain events like rain events and things like that. So percent's going to change over time from the day.
well, is it percent per the pole?
Say it again.
So I guess I can give an opinion on something that, since it's not trying to come here.
Sometimes it's going to be flat, sometimes it's going to be.
Yeah, that's why wind turbine. Yeah, we don't.
We've had people call, talk about it, and I said, you better go talk to the.
But the wind here is not nearly like 60, 70.
2 years ago, there was a guy that called, talking about where he wanted to put them, showed me a map. I said, you better go talk to the county judge, that's his property. And these were supposed to be twice as big as the ones in West Texas.
Man.
They're ever bigger.
Well, and what's your, they probably still get 100% coverage on a property because you have a pole and then you have a blade, so you have clearance. So you're still gonna go grid, right? Like, cause your coverage is your pole.
Solar
Right.
arrays that's a good thing to attack because they're not even going to be putting any more of those. The wind turbines might be obsolete in the next 5 years when they start putting reactors in. You don't want to have to edit this over and over again. So
I
It's going to be edited again for sure.
Yeah.
the proposed, it'll be moved into a totally different section.
Well, I recommend power
Cool.
plants instead of wind turbines, because they could do different things. You know, or if you really want to be careful, power plants that, add to the, impervious surface. I don't know, tell me, how would you word it?
That is in there.
That's covered in the other stuff.
Yeah, it says,
What I'm worried about specifically is if the solar farm tried to come, they would be, they're gonna sue you because 10% would be covered. They don't have something in their system.
could it be deemed that we're saying, we're talking about building coverage?
The problem is, I saw that, but you have structures, which would probably come
Yeah.
under their steel driven in the ground.
On your solar panels, are y'all taxed as personal property or real property?
I'm okay striking it.
It's attached.
So it's real.
No, keep structures. Don't you think,
Just
Robert?
under a different R number because it's usually on leased land.
That's a great question.
I think the wind could stay, but.
Wind on
I
it?
think the solar.
Yeah, right here.
I just think the solar thing is for something.
I mean, I think they get full coverage of property.
What happened to homeowner range?
If you have this,
They'll never
Deer and
hit,
antelope.
they'll never hit.
you'll never hit, that's what I'm saying.
Right, so it's permanent.
Alright, so 0.1% for wind.
It's just like, I think it's, look, famous last words, I don't think they've ever.
Yeah.
I say that, I swear, there's a wind alley right in my house.
Okay. All right.
We could put a space.
All right, well, let's hone in on this then.
That's why.
We are in agreement to change 10%.
Mm-hmm.
We're striking solar rates.
Mm-hmm.
This first paragraph is stating that's what's in there.
That is what's in there now.
And
Yep.
you'll add,
No, he added in, did you?
You have.
Correct, I did change inclusive to exclusive. And I'm actually okay with keeping inclusive up there if we wanted to.
You realize that their parking and their
Excuse me,
paving,
it is exclusive.
their parking and their paving has no requirement to be paved, it's just an all-weather service, so it could be gravel, so that's not actually 100% impervious.
True. But it's, yeah,
And then enough strip, you know, grass creek.
Frankly, we'd probably rather be paved, but we can't require it.
Well, we don't have any parking standards, so,
Well, preference.
yeah. I mean, no, yeah.
I'm okay with not having any say so over that.
I just think the inclusive.
When I redid the RV park regs, I put, all-weather surface, I wanted to put dust-free all-weather surface, but they wouldn't let me do it.
I did not change the top part.
Well, there's some kind of
Yeah,
stuff they can
sorry.
mix with it that makes it
Yeah.
dust-free, but they told me I didn't have the authority to put it in there. So that's what it is. Because ain't nothing I hate worse than seeing.
okay. So let's look at this. I know you added some stuff to that third paragraph.
Yeah, so.
Christine, you think she needs that, and the attorney, and the county attorney? I really liked her.
I don't think I changed any.
We added non-residential or multi-family. You see, this is where it's served by council.
That was a 12-hour day.
I mean, it's already do that.
I think so that it's clear that it's not referring to the one above.
In all cases, the total area available for sewage disposal must be no less than 2 times the design area of the initial system.
I can't wrap my head around what that means.
I don't know what it means either.
What's that?
This last sentence, in all cases, the total area available for sewage disposal must be no less than 2 times the design area for the initial system.
That was in there because subdivisions like Oak Trust Shores will basically, Subchapter K stopped those high-density subdivisions that were on septic systems because they were ruining the lake. So these people were building 5-bedroom houses on little 100 by 50 lots, and they had no room for a sewer.
Gotcha, yeah.
Right, but this, and at the time, the state.
Don't remove it.
This paragraph is currently in there, as is. The only thing that has changed is I added non-residential and multifamily because that's what it was referring to up above. You know, I basically,
No, I see what you're saying.
this is a new thought there.
Well, yeah, you're just saying that they're not served by septic.
And
Well,
s-
no,
and-
on-site facilities can be septic.
And right, so I'm saying my intent was just not to change the intent of that paragraph.
I don't know that, yeah.
Then we can get in trouble with other old subdivisions again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the county still has to honor those plans.
Yeah, but they got different requirements on the sewer now. They gotta have a site evaluator and aerobic and drip.
It all has minimal solar.
Yeah, I think we should do that because it, like Clint says, it keeps us from getting in trouble with those old residential.
Because what that does is it limits the size of the house that people can build on it based on the availability for the sewer.
I mean, they'll-
Assuming an aerobic system, do they have an end around by piping it out or trucking it out?
a pump and haul.
There's actually one that did do a holding tank and engineer certified, but his house is massive. I don't know what they're gonna pay a week to have that thing pumped out.
Well, I'm not talking about houses, I'm thinking.
Well, this is only talking about houses or residential and multifamily. Yeah.
Anything like that would have to be taken to someplace like Cedar Creek where they take hazardous waste to. Ain't that what it's called? Cedar Creek?
Or the collective systems has agreement with the local municipality, put it in a certain area.
I'm just thinking equivalent of a porta potty where you go flush it.
I busted a few that, huh?
Thinking of like a porta potty where you just go take it away.
Maybe it should,
You'd be shocked at what they do, where they take that porta potty stuff to.
everything.
And think these specific,
About 500 feet behind my aunt's property.
That first paragraph could even include
That
industrial.
blue stuff's supposed to make it okay though.
It's just keeping it the same as it is.
this is really what we're trying to do.
Right, this second paragraph, we're saying that you're one of these type of businesses.
In essence, this is basically, we're just,
But then,
It just give it to power, we're not even talking about.
how would that apply to that? If non-residential, if we're thinking everything outside of it, AI.
Yeah, for all non-residential uses and multifamily, it should actually, for all it's saying for everything, everything. And then we're adding some caveats.
It doesn't even say non-residential multifamily, it just says users where, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think original needs to be modified.
Say it again?
Well, so in paragraph one, we've got non-residential,
Mhm.
which we're saying that's everything except the data center, or cryptocurrency. But then paragraph three, we're saying.
Yeah, so then we can say for all uses excluding the uses described in the following paragraph, we're keeping it the same up there. Like, should we say something like that?
I mean, the original language just said, where such uses, I think we should probably just,
Are you sure?
Yeah.
where such uses.
It's up there.
Right now, this is what the data center is coming with. Right. So we're creating a new section just with those few defined terms. We'll change it to 10.
Right, but we're keeping the first part.
I don't think, still taking out. Because this is gonna apply. to this portion.
But we don't really want these rules to apply to multifamily.
Or if you create a redundant regulation, it
I
just
mean,
speak to
I think
it.
my thought is, this is really the key of what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Like, trying to get something on the books that will mitigate, it is still, such uses. Because this is the one that.
I'm not saying injustice at all. I think
That is non-residential multifamily.
Oh, okay, very good. Yes, You can yes, sorry.
So we're just adding the middle paragraph. That would be unchanged.
Not yet. So what I would, I believe we would need to look at the 3 definitions up top. Those are the ones that show up in 5.3F.
Pop up the mic.
I've done a lot of requirements, and requirements, you have to look to the future. And I think where you're talking about hardware or software, now this can be a trap. I think it's hardware and software. You want more generic, you know, if it's a computer, it's got software in it. There's a reference elsewhere to ASICs and other very specific, and that needs to be more generalized. GPUs is a good generalized, but that could change in the next 10 years too. I'm down to the crypto, I'm sorry. And crypto itself may disappear in the next 5 years. So it's, I think, more general. And as I say, you don't have something that's either hardware or software. It's both. Yeah. So you could just delimit that with a comma if you wanted to. Hardware, software. Anyway, that was just one minor catch. And as I say, specific reference to ASICs, GPUs, those are fine as long as you can say, or other equivalent processing elements, you know, and that would make it more generalized. So the next BSIC or whatever that comes out, they can't say, well, that's not covered by that.
Yeah, well, I think that's one thing the Freeze representative said in the meeting was that every you know, or 5 to 8 years or something, you kind of take a look and reevaluate. Sometimes you don't change it, sometimes you
Yeah, and the other point is, these are just definitions. And sometimes it seems like the definitions are like requirements, but they're not. They have to be levied by that, like the 5.3, and that has to call these things out in order to give them any weight. But
All of this is supposed to be living documents. The problem is, over the years before I got here, certain commissioners said, I don't want to change this for whatever
Yep,
reason.
yep.
They would just scratch it out. That's why we got so many.
I got fired once over suggesting too many changes to a document. And I was trying to protect my company from the contract that, you know, but.
But that's why we got so much piecemeal stuff.
Yep, I understand. I've been through the process. Anyway, just those 2 minor inputs.
Okay.
Okay, so change that,
I don't even know if software needs to be in there personally. Like software can be stored on a jump drive. Right?
Is there anything in the data center definition that distinguishes it from my house or your house?
Right.
How big is, how big is the county's data center? Did you identify it through amount of data going out? In terms of,
Are you going to audit everybody for their data?
just to define it, right?
Yeah, an office building will have that.
Some larger companies.
If you have a definition of industrial use somewhere, refer to that.
Well, I think at this day and age, anything that has, everything's got a computer in it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a building right now with our cell phones and we are breaking this rule.
You can beef up industrial just a little bit, industrial use.
I don't think you should get trapped by your other definitions.
These are new. These are all.
Well, I think we're trapping ourselves by this definition.
New, like they're not really exist.
Yeah, they don't really, yeah,
They're proposed.
these are someone taking a very hard look on how to
I
do
can
this.
tell you there's a lot of stuff in these existing regulations that do not have a definition.
It just makes it easier to refer back to someone and say, yeah, you're right, you can do away with all.
That's how you lose in court.
AI data center.
I mean, again, this goes back to my hesitancy. Do we need?
I think, well, I think or is fine because it's saying either one will qualify you. What I think we need to focus on is, yeah, somehow keep it from an,
Can you do it by megawatts or?
That, so if you remember the first one of these I brought on the table that one day, I put a question, would you consider a megawatt? That was the best I could find. Like, that was just like size of power. Yes, that was the best thing I could find.
Power.
Making over data centers or.
The power consumption.
Hospital, I'm sure you have it.
The power consumption. Power usage.
Noise,
What's that?
noise.
We can't regulate noise. That's done through an abatement.
Just like camping screen.
Maybe Teresa Nichols can talk about noise relative to rural and recreational.
You're still regulating noise.
You're still regulating noise.
I mean, you can't hear the birds sing when you're outside.
And also, when you say residential, we have no zoning land use ability.
yeah, I guess.
7, so we would go 3.5 times as high.
We didn't need to.
No, I appreciate that range because when you said it, I was like, that's about the most obvious thing anybody's said to me. Yeah, I know.
The definition of where I'm sitting right now.
It's crazy.
I mean, I think it's to the point of they're having to submit, right? But they're having to submit, they're not gonna say they're residential.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me because I'm not on board with 10%, so. Like I just, but the data center definition, I can't really kind of.
Well, now, the 1,000 square feet, while frustrating, is what's currently in the reg. That's-
Right.
That is what's currently in there for everything on residential.
Yeah, because-
That is not a change.
Correct, yes, but I think that, and that's.
So maybe the question is, we change that, make it, this
50
is the only place where the 20,000, make sure you're not hitting any house.
Now, if you do a 20,000 square foot, then you're establishing a minimum property size you can build on.
Well, we can do building size.
Correct, yeah. And that's where like, looking at the impervious cover, I think is a misstep, because it's, you could just do building size. Like, if we can regulate the building size, everything's got to circulate from fire coverage. And you already have a 50% in there.
This is the footprint building size. We can't regulate how high they go.
Correct.
Leaning tower of Pisa's, data centers.
We're
I
only
have
hearing-
a mental picture.
we're only hearing 2 stories, I think.
But then within the definition which says which computers go, that takes out the houses.
Kind of, it's just that someone could set up something in their house.
Okay, well then what about inserting at the beginning, a non-residential structure of at least 1,000 square feet?
Office.
I think we get
Just a regular office. Yeah, that's all the secretary.
I know, that's why when he said it, it was just like,
I really would,
I run a home business out of my shop and it's 2,500
Yeah, I do.
square feet.
Because you've got industrial down there in line, but it's kind of a definition hanging off the definition.
My shop's 2,500 square feet and we run our embroidery business out. It's in my backyard. So.
your shop's 1,500 feet. Yeah, I got a 30 by 40 shop. But,
Technically, I'm going to
yeah, they're. Correct, yeah, the occupancy is relatively low. I mean, they're still employees, but you do have.
we could,
you have
yeah, we
trades.
could say an industrial building, because we have industrial down below.
Should have started with that.
Nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably, honestly, there's probably a definition out there.
Yeah,
I mean, you could go and find. Someone has created a definition of this.
We took an awesome picture of Pagosa Springs, and I said, put a bear behind us, and that sucker looks real.
Well, we're not, I mean, that's what the definition is.
I don't know if we can use this here.
Because it's,
That's our concept of that.
building at a railway down there, and it's not at all. I mean, Henson's,
I'm not sure.
the racetrack.
My only thought is like you could say a non-residential, non-office use building of at least 1,000 feet.
That just increase the size of the building to make sure you get up with it.
There's 20,000 square foot.
It just means now,
Throw this out
It
there,
means
state
someone
fire
could
code
do
says if it's over
100,
5,000, they gotta have sprinklers.
15,000 square foot
Where's the
buildings.
water coming from?
I wouldn't want someone to be able to do like 115,000 square foot building.
115,000.
Have a big, cistern outside with a pump.
Well, they could do 100 shipping containers.
You'd like that from the impervious layer. That's what I
Right, that's what's out there, that's what, like, that's one of
You got another soft
the worst things this whole conversation is.
data and information. But you can nitpick some of this stuff that the lawyers do.
What about just like over 1,000 CPUs?
Well, that's kind of what I did under crypto. If you notice, I did 1,000 application specific integrated circuits. That's what I was kind of finding online. That would keep you out of the house. That would keep you away from, a couple of computers in the garage. And that's what I thought about data centers, it's like maybe higher per megawatt.
That's why I almost think you could get that even on the data center, focus strictly on power, as your coverage of power on the bill. Only 10% can be for power generation.
So we don't even have a definition.
Then that's only gonna get them, and 1,000 acres at 100 acres, that's gonna get them.
Okay, then the question, should we
Half a big.
do we do this without a definition and wait for Freeze and Nichols to do the definitions? Do we think that hurts us? Or is it, when a definition is not provided, say it again?
Make a change without a definition.
But if there's no definition, isn't the procedure, then you go by the commonly used, understood term? I would say, like,
I think these are gonna be pretty close to your common understanding.
yeah, agreed.
So, under that, you should pass this and let. The thing is, the county's probably not gonna try to enforce against somebody at their house who just has,
Correct.
even if they have 20 servers at their house, because they run, they're a service provider or something. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for new things that are being applied for.
How does that work though in selective enforcement?
It's not selective enforcement if they're out there and you don't know about it and they never make an application. But the reason they're not out there making an application is because they're not big enough to need any kind of financing.
Right.
You're looking for the ones that are gonna come forth and they're big enough.
They need the entitlement, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a mom and pop shop guy who's running websites out of his barn and, maybe he has 1,000.
This weird guy back here?
He might have 1,000 acres in the barn. He's not really ever looking to do anything else. Right?
Well, I've been meaning to visit a data center. I'll just go by his house.
Sounds like his bar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not making that application, it's not important.
Right.
You don't know what to do.
Yeah, no,
Well, then, I think all these are very close. We just need to figure out how to
Right.
give it a little bit
I
of.
read it on live stream, but look at 9.1. On the existing one,
Can I look at yours?
say 74. That's probably don't have no key.
That's at a K, yeah.
Look at one term, just commercial compute.
Did that be changed?
if you run an online business,
It's by statute.
it's $500.
Not less than 5 and 1,000 per day. Per day.
Mhm.
$1 billion project, you don't have to write any agreements, you can $5,000 check.
Right, I want them to have the ability to use it if they need
If
it.
they don't need our recommendation to make a change, you would tap the court.
I agree, but I don't think they're gonna do it without our recommendation. Like I don't
Throw
think
a
they need to.
moratorium vote on in perpetuity, even after they take action. I mean, I don't think, like, I get what you're saying, though. It helps to have.
I agree. I agree.
Well, I didn't say what I wrote, I just said they don't need a recommendation, like, they could, I mean, well, maybe they couldn't, because it's not noticed, I don't know.
The commissioners have a great definition.
We're speaking in unknown language of sarcasm.
Like I said, I knew when that would be pretty, they're just not well known enough. Defined enough.
I think even if we don't add the, hey, this is not a house and this is not an office, I think it's pretty obvious if you read through here that it's basically saying that the entire dedication of this building is going to these things,
Not a home business.
you know?
Not a home business and defined home business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not so much worried about that. Like when I was sitting there, I was like, here I am, you know, 3 computers up, trying to piece together what people think this stuff is, and it's like, well, probably technically the definition of that.
Well, what you could do, again, you'll know where I stand on the coverage, so it doesn't really matter, but
right.
you could add a line at the end of that, say, without, cannot exceed this, or cannot without variance or something, or
You probably have a
special use
PPE or
permit or
something
something
for your
from the
office, too.
commissioners, and then,
Yeah.
if you got in a real pickle with your house, you could, I mean, again, we're getting wildly away from Texas here by saying this, but I can come to the government and ask.
We're gonna
them to
knock out
have
the
5 computers
gamers.
in my garage.
Yeah. I think we should take data center, AI data center, and crypto mining facility as written. I think Robert did a good job on them. Yeah.
I just, you know, I like
That
the
looks real.
application specific
That does look
integrated
real.
circuits, it's fine, graphic processing units. The key point here is dedicated to
really
solving
scares me where you take
applications
the
evaluate.
solid waste to make a
That's
video.
really what you're saying, is any kind of stuff you want to put together, and it's got to include hardware and software, because hardware doesn't work without software.
Yeah, I was going up in the hands of the CIA when they get them built.
Software work without hardware.
You know, not in the military or CIA when they get them built.
How it's represented in the previous. I'm sorry, we're in
It does.
cryptocurrency. I just, all I say is you're painting yourself into a corner when you say ASICs and GPUs.
And cryptocurrency.
Or, yeah, cryptocurrency, you know, that's gonna go away in another 6 months to a
Because they're
year.
gonna have stable coin, which is totally different.
So they'll just call it, well, we're nowadays.
I'm in the solar game still.
It's like solar panels are gonna go away because they're not subsidized. Wind farms are gonna go away because they're too much of an environmental mess to get rid of, so. But having them in there is not a bad thing. I'm just saying, if you get real specific like that, you're putting yourself in a corner for 5 years down the road, 2 years down the road. I mean, they're starting to deliver these, reactors, these small modular reactors. And pretty soon, you're not gonna have jet engines turning shafts to generate electricity.
Well, I think Endeavor just announced a new one too.
What's that?
Endeavor announced one this week or came up this month. Turbo.
SMR?
Oh, no, they're turbo something systems. It's like a 90% reduction in
Yeah.
NOx and all this other stuff, and they use practically there's no water discharge or something like that.
Is
They've
that,
got to put the right chemicals in.
is that the nuclear one they're talking about?
No, that's separate from an SMR, but, I mean, I feel like you're right. Small batch nuclear is what's coming. Once they can figure out how to privatize it, it's coming.
So, all of your definitions is.
Energized technology, that's so now.
Well, that's kind of where we can
do now.
That's where we were at, talking about power usage, like a threshold.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Increase in power, it's still gonna be a big power user, either way, but where do you draw that line?
I will make that motion. I will make the motion that we take the changes to 5.3F, changing the 5% to 10 and adding in that paragraph that applies to data centers, AI data centers, and crypto mining facilities. A maximum of 10% parcel tract or lot shall be covered by building structures, power plants, or wind turbines, inclusive of parking and other paved areas, as well as the definitions as written for data center, AI data center, and crypto mining facility.
So is this, are we proposing this to go to commissioner's court for them to vote on? Or will it go to the lawyer?
You gotta go to the lawyer first.
So it'll go to the lawyer, so if something we didn't catch, it would get caught.
I think we're recommending it go to the commissioner court, but on the way, it's going to be seen by.
I can tell you the first thing they ask in court is this been approved by the county attorney or the attorney? Maybe. I'm really impressed with her. We got 3 right now.
What's the new term?
I can't pronounce the name, but I can spell it. Boroquez?
I didn't even have to correct it.
No, the county has.
Any other comments?
No. Mills is trying to understand the process. Sure. There's a separate third party.
Yeah, we're ready to take it. Aye.
None opposed. She was recommended by the legal counsel for all the counties in Texas.
Is she specific to counties? Like they're like specifically work on
Counties and
counties?
cities.
Yeah.